Ari Ratner, a fellow at the Truman National Security Project. Ari, I just saw Defense Secretary Michael Fallon of the UK. He gave an afternoon talk put on by the Cohen Group here in D.C. He kind of rattled off some things. I want to throw them in your direction and get your thoughts. He says the caliphate shrinking. It's lost 40% of the land it once occupied. At one point, it was near the gates of Baghdad. Now it's suffering defeats along the two rivers of the Tigris and Euphrates. Pay for fighters drying up. Foreign fighters diminished. ISIL's losing its appeal. It sounds rather rosy. Is that your perspective as well?
Well, first of all, it's a pleasure to be with you again, and certainly everything the British Defense Secretary said is true. ISIS's hold over much ground in both Syria and Iraq has diminished. A lot of their recruits are drying up, but of course we still see an organization with considerable power, both in the region and globally. And it's certainly a dangerous time with everything that's occurring in the region, with the coup in Turkey, with instability. ISIS may very well fill that void.
Yeah, it's interesting because that was the thing that was going through my mind. We see the attacks in Nice, Istanbul, Baghdad, Brussels. List goes on and on. It gives us the sense that the world is more dangerous, more unpredictable. How do we square these two narratives?
Yeah, look, I think they're, in some respects, maybe interrelated. One thing ISIS has called for in the last year or so has been less for recruits to come to Syria, in part because the Turks had been quite cooperative on that front, and more for them to stage small-scale attacks in their native country. So certainly the Paris attack was highly coordinated. The Brussels attack was highly coordinated. But the Nice attack appears to have been, a lone individual, a so-called lone wolf. Same with the Orlando attack. So these are individuals who may be taken in by ISIS's appeal and ISIS's narrative, but are no longer traveling over to Syria. So there may be some link in the degree to which their footprint in the region is diminished. The ability of actors to take on their banner elsewhere may in fact go up.
What about the digital dimension? We've always talked about the savvy in terms of recruitment online. Secretary Fallon saying today that more is being done. They're actually taking down from the web more than what's actually being put up these days. But it's still a struggle, isn't it, getting the upper hand when it comes to social media?
Undoubtedly, it's a struggle. And look, this is a struggle that goes far beyond ISIS. I mean, social media is not a medium that lends itself to control unless you're planning on shutting down the internet in your country. It's very difficult to counter the number of accounts that ISIL is putting up, let alone the message, which has, unfortunately, a broad resonance among many people dissatisfied in a whole host of countries. So it's certainly something the U.S. government and other governments, including the U.K. government, have devoted a lot of resources in, both government resources and in conjunction with the private sector. Companies like Twitter and Facebook and YouTube are devoting a lot of resources to this, but it's an unending struggle. It's very difficult to stop.
Yeah, a lot of dimensions to all of this. Ari, thanks so much for joining us. Certainly appreciate it coming to us from Los Angeles via Skype.
My pleasure.